My friends, hello. I was in a supermarket in Mauritius and I found this. It's a kebab ketchup, whatever that means. Made, as you can see at the top right there, made in Ukraine. So there you go. I bought it. Well, I don't feel adventurous enough to eat it, but it still made me think about globalization. It made me think about a lot of things. Sometimes I'm in a place, I buy something weird and I start looking at it. It inspires a lot of things in me. So today I wanted to answer a question that I've been getting quite often lately. What assessment do I make? What summary do I draw from my immigration experience? I left the United Kingdom in April, went to Dubai first, then came here. I told you it was temporary. Then I came here to Mauritius, where I've been for 2 months. So what assessment do I make at this stage? Is everything okay? Or am I about to pack my bags and go back to the United Kingdom? No. So let me tell you about the first days in Mauritius, let's say the first 3 weeks. And whether it's in Mauritius or somewhere else, it's the same. Actually, it's not specific to this country. It's just the first 3 weeks in a country. It's always weeks, let's say, that are stressful. It's always weeks where you have to find your bearings. That means you know how to drive. Good news. They drive on the left, like the United Kingdom, which made adapting quite easy. People are quite respectful. Let's talk about the rules of the road. So there aren't too many problems on that side. There's quite a lot of police. So it's not in your interest to break the speed limits. Well, with the junk car I'm driving right now, we're not in a BMW 5 Series anymore. With the junk car I managed to find. Because cars are extremely expensive and hard to get in this country. So I'm driving a little junk car and speeding isn't really part of the equation anymore. So I'm telling you, the first 3 weeks, finding your bearings, getting settled in, knowing where the good bakery is, store hours, getting used to the house a little bit, the sounds of the house, the lizards that come out from time to time, but they're not harmful. And then after that, you move into another phase. You move into another phase where you start to feel a little bit at home, which is a very good thing. So one thing, August is coming to an end, and I'm glad it's ending. And I can even tell you one thing. I can even announce it to you today. Next August, I won't be here. I'm not leaving the country for good, but I'll just spend August somewhere else. Why? Should I tell you? There's one thing I advise you not to do. If you leave Europe for the Southern Hemisphere, whether it's Australia, New Zealand, Mauritius, or somewhere else like South Africa, avoid going there. Maybe. During the European spring, I'll tell you why. I was living in the United Kingdom, right? So at the end of August last year, it started to get cold. I wake up, open the door, and it's 9 degrees with wind and rain mixed. So you feel like it's February, right? It's cold in September, October, November, and so on. Short nights, well, short days, and so on. You get to April or May, and then it starts to get a little better outside. And what do? You head out into the southern outflow. What do you find? You find winter. So actually, if you do that, you feel like you've had a winter that lasted a whole year. And for people who are sensitive to that, I'm sensitive to that. Well, it can be pretty tough on your mind. So I won't hide from you that August wasn't an entirely easy month because of that. Let me tell you, it's paradoxical. It's psychological, and like many psychological things, it's paradoxical. There's no immediate rational explanation. It's that since it was cold during August, cold, 23 degrees, that's cold. It's cold because it's frustrating. You see the pool behind me? It's freezing. So it's really nice. It's big and all that, but I didn't use it. I put my feet in it, and once I fell in fully clothed. That's it. But I didn't use it. The beach is 5 minutes from here. Same thing. I go there almost every day. I walk on the sand. I put my feet in the water, but I haven't swum yet. Since the temperature isn't right, even though people are swimming, everyone has their own tolerance. Personally, 23 degrees isn't swimming weather. I was saying that when I played in bad weather, so did others. Mentally, I told myself this. That's the paradox. If it's this cold in August, September will be even worse. Why? Because I'm used to that in the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, sometimes there's an August that comes and it's cold, old or windier. You look back at the month and think it's impossible. It's the only month where we still have a bit of a chance to see some sky, to have a bit of sun on these waters. And it's older like that because you know that September will be worse. So yeah, it's true that mentally, I have a hard time imagining that during September and October, things will get better. It won't be worse. So I wanted to tell you this. Now, regarding the fact that I left the United Kingdom, when I look back today, I watch the news every day. It feels like post-traumatic stress disorder. I only watch a little news despite everything. Well, I still have friends and family in the United Kingdom and everything. So it's not that simple. It's not black and white, but somewhere. I'm glad that this news, this information I see isn't my information. That news isn't the news for me. I'm not going to experience them. It won't be part of my life. It won't influence my life. Today, I watch them, and the more I watch them, the more I find them terrifying. So what do we have? We have a tax surge in the United Kingdom. But before I talk to you about the tax surge, maybe I'll tell you about the hellish trio they're experiencing over there. There's a triple bankruptcy. There's a bankruptcy of the state. The state is technically bankrupt. Let me just give you a number. The United Kingdom's 10-year interest rates are at, I don't even know how much anymore. 5 and something. I think 5.4, something like that. At 30 years, it's 5.6 or 5.63. In Germany, it's about 2% similar. Germany, France, Italy, Spain, I think they're around 3% a copy. Roughly speaking, just to give you an idea, we're heading towards 6 in the United Kingdom. We call British rates a stupidity tax. What do these rates really represent? The rate of a sovereign debt represents the risk that the market is willing to take. The riskier the person is, right? If we lend, I don't know, if we lend to Rothschild, we'll lend to them at an extremely low rate. If we lend to a Casus, we'll lend to him at a rate higher than the current rate. Why? Simply because it's the risk involved, the money. British debt is becoming toxic paper. So the state is going bankrupt. When it's going bankrupt, what is it going to do? It will raise taxes on businesses, impacting labor and investment. What did the companies do? They started laying people off. Some couldn't take it anymore because they were just on the edge of the abyss. There was Brexit, which wasn't easy for the companies, but we hoped we could get through it later. First came COVID, then the war in Ukraine, which we fully engaged in, so bam, bam, bam. Now we're imposing punitive taxes that hurt job creation and investment. Well, obviously a lot of them have fallen off the cliff and others survive as best they can. So we have the bankruptcy of businesses and we're slowly heading toward the bankruptcy of individuals as well. Because individuals are also crushed by all kinds of taxes and deductions, which are literally invented day by day. You can't open a British newspaper today without seeing that a new tax has been created. And you realize that there is a fiscal instability that means we have a state that is truly bankrupt, and then it's pre-trained. Many with him are ready to drag down the economy and civil society because it's a state that spends on defense, spends nonstop. So, well, you have to know one thing. The state religion in the United Kingdom is what they call net zero. Net zero requires the collapse of the country. In France, it's similar. The country must collapse. Why? Because you often hear they want to reduce. There has to be a quota for plane tickets, for travel, a quota for flying, a quota for gasoline, a quota for this, for that. But in reality, these quotas can't be enforced. The only real way to force people to consume less is when they don't have any more money. They need to have no more money. You have to ruin them. What are they doing? They are ruining the population. If a population is ruined, its carbon footprint drops automatically. Math can prove this. So that's what they're doing. And so this ruin is completely planned. There you go. It was decided in our place. We will see it in our lifetime. I mean, in the coming months and years, we will see Britons who will disconnect from the electrical system, who will disconnect from gas. We'll see already. There are people who don't heat their homes. There are people, it's been years already. 10 years ago, I saw people living in coal houses. I've already seen people living with hats, heavy jackets, and gloves in their own homes because they don't have money to heat them. That was 10 years ago. Today, I'm not talking about the Telegraph or the Journal, but the British Telegraph published an article. It said, which country will collapse first? Will it be the United Kingdom or France? You can see that for both countries, it's no longer a question of whether they are sustainable or not. No, the question is which one will collapse? Both of them, but which one? The only question left for us is to know which one will bite the dust first. Is it the United Kingdom? Some are betting their money on the United Kingdom. Others are betting their money on Macron's France. But well, there you go. It's a mystery, a real mystery. It's a race. We have sprawling states in both countries, sprawling states. Practically half of what we produce as humans, as citizens in these countries, is thought out by the state. Can you imagine, just to tell you something, would you give money to an organization that has 50% operating costs? No, the state shouldn't operate like a business or aim for profit. The state spends half of the national gross domestic product. That means that literally half of our work, the fruit of our labor, we give it to the state, which spends it. And you know what? Here is the effect that follows, the triple effect that follows is that on one hand, public services are collapsing, so we give them half of our gross domestic product, and in return, we get nothing at all. In France, there are very poor quality services that are collapsing. In the United Kingdom, they don't have and never had the culture of public services like in France. So in the United Kingdom, it doesn't even exist. It simply doesn't exist. Things like réduction du temps de travail pension, the Works Council, and my training account don't exist in the United Kingdom. There is no state, there is no welfare state. Originally, after 1945, it was built with the idea of public service, with the idea that everyone could have access and all that kind of generosity. The problem with France is that this generosity has been opened up to 8 billion people. That's the problem. With a welfare state, you still need to protect it, or else 8 billion people could claim entitlement. From there, things will quickly go downhill. So the state in France, there is still a very interesting social state, but it's falling apart. In the United Kingdom, we've never had that. It never got into their heads. It's a concept they don't understand. They've never understood. You see what I mean? For them, everything is a commodity, isn't it? We're going to end up back on, without meaning to, I don't even mean to, I didn't even want to talk about that. We'll end up revisiting last time's videos and Marxist readings of society. In the United Kingdom, everything is a commodity. All freedoms are reduced to a single freedom, which is the freedom of exchange, of free trade. When we talk about free trade in the Anglo-Saxon sense, free trade includes the word freedom. It's the only freedom left in such a system because, you see, when we're collapsing, well, what do? We silence speech. Civil liberties will remain. Ultimately, only free trade will remain as a freedom. I'm not talking. So, as I was saying, France and the United Kingdom, there's a race to the collapse. I would add Germany to that, which is also a country that's collapsing. It's a country that has destroyed its own construction and reconstruction since 1945. It destroyed it to try to save a square inch of Ukrainian land, which is quite incredible, because if you look at the United Kingdom, France, Germany, these are not countries that are thriving. I'm talking about the elites. These are not countries that breathe sovereignty. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. If any country had come to take half of the United Kingdom or half of France, I think the elites would have made much less noise than what is happening today. For the Ukrainian borders, I mean, the French border isn't protected, nor is the British border, but the Ukrainian border, that one needs to be protected. You see what I mean? And what's happening today? And that's it. This is a really sinister part of the plan. This one is truly sinister. You can feel a kind of war frenzy. Imagine if tomorrow Zelensky and Putin met, shook hands, and made peace. What's great between Slavs, honestly, is that at some point, it's in their best interest to find an agreement between themselves and make peace. Disputed borders exist worldwide. On any continent, you'll find them involving ethnic minorities and languages. A history, maybe a little bit, some wounds from history that aren't completely healed. I mean, you can see here there are 13 a dozen. I mean, these are fairly typical conflicts, extremely well known. So the Slavs there essentially let themselves be taken in by the French, Germans, British, and others who were setting things on fire. And then they said, go on, kill each other, and we're here counting the dead. And if things start to calm down, we'll give you more weapons. You see what I mean? So here I was saying, let's imagine that Putin and Zelensky meet and make peace. If there's an agreement, the United Kingdom, France, and Germany will go to war. Still, because they'll say we're going to war, they want this war. You feel it? And why do they want this war? Well, for the same reason they wanted the Second World War, for example. Because these are wars that are necessary for the capitalistic system, because it allows for an economic reset. It allows to restart, to destroy the machine and start it again. It lets them pass emergency laws and take control. Look here. And for example, in 2026, let's say there's a war in France. Let's say in 2026, things really heat up. Let's go. We're going to war. If there are 3 days of ammunition, as you know, the French have 3 days of ammunition. So if the French have 3 days, the British probably have 3 hours, roughly speaking. But still, if there is a clear state of war present, we might ask, in 2027, will we have presidential elections? Yes. Are we doing it? Are we holding presidential elections while possibly in the midst of a third world war? This is not the time to hold elections. It's the time to have Republican continuity, isn't it? And then to continue with the leadership team, the governing team that has led the country so well up to this point. We have to continue with them because we have to protect the homeland. That is, to return the flag to the homelands. Okay, well, so, I mean, do you see the plan? It's just me rambling. It's just nonsense, isn't it? But, well, a lot of nonsense. Years gone by have become realities, and sometimes very, very quickly, the time between the fantasy and its manifestation is getting shorter and shorter, isn't it? You know, there are people who tell you a story. There are people who say that it's because you think about something that it comes true. It's hard to think positively. You know, there are people who talk about the law of attraction. You attract good vibes, you attract good things by thinking about them. One day I was on a plane and I never have much luck with them because every time I get on a plane, the guy who sits next to me is usually huge. Usually he's going to take up half my seat. Or he smells bad, or he's unpleasant, or he brings a kebab with him. There are lots of onions, right? You get it, never any luck. So one day I get on the plane, right? And while I'm boarding, I'm thinking about this theory. I tell myself, if you become positive, I'll settle in. Now my seat. 2 minutes later, blonde Angeline shows up, very pretty, big smile, and says, that's my seat next to you. Yes, it's your seat. She arrives, sits, and says hello. And me inside, I already start telling myself, see how you think negatively, and because you have this negative thought, it manifests in reality. So you just have to think positively. So at that moment, I'm having this monologue. 2 teenagers arrive, they look at this woman, they show her their boarding pass, she apologizes, she gets up and says, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, it's my fault, I'm sitting in her seat, and I'm going to have to deal with this the whole flight, I'm going to have to deal with it. These 2 teenagers who spill drinks, who make noise, who argue, who bicker, all of that, yeah. And I was very happy. Wasn't it when the plane landed and they finally opened the doors? That's why you won't see me trying out a lot of those amusement rides and things like that. I tend to, with the limitations I've mentioned in other videos about empiricism and all that, I tend to be a little bit Cartesian, but not too much. So, as I was saying, at this point, with everything I just told you, I am pretty happy to have left the United Kingdom. Really, I'm glad I left the United Kingdom. It's not a decision I regret. I am. I even think I should have left much earlier, but well, that's it. And you can say it all, you can bottle it up the same way. I should have left earlier. I left at some point. That's not what you need. It takes a lot of work to leave. There you go. Now, am I happy to be Aline Maurice? Of course, absolutely. I'm very happy to be Aline Maurice. Charming people and a very safe, peaceful country. I'm in the calm, safe north of the island with great weather, isn't it? It's starting to warm up. You can feel it. You can sense the return of the warm days, right? So there you go. Mini, what's it called? Mini review. It's a mini review. Extremely positive. Compared to, let me remind you about my book, compared to Betrayal. Isn't it The Great Betrayals? Under? Who explains exactly? Who explains exactly that everything we're experiencing, none of it is an accident. It's not incompetence. That means that personally, I agree with the analysis of many people about the destruction. That's clear. On the other hand, where I differ from many people is that personally, I'm not at all a fan of the accident or incompetence theory. For me, even though some media have accused me of being a conspiracy theorist, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, actually. Actually, I'm someone who believes that things are what they seem to be, right? When you're sabotaging a country, it looks like sabotage. To me, it's sabotage. To me, conspiracy means seeking an alternative or unusual explanation about incompetent people who follow one another for 40 years, who mess up at every decision point just like that, out of incompetence. They systematically make the wrong decision. No, that's low-level conspiracy. Ivan said I don't believe in it. Okay, it's not an accident. Read this book. I think it will give you a very interesting idea of what we are experiencing collectively. So there you go, my friends. Thank you. I'll leave you tonight. Thank you for watching this video up to this point. Subtitling ST, and I'll see you in the next subtitle. This is not an accident. Read this book. I think it will give you a very interesting idea of what we are experiencing collectively. That's it. Thank you. I'll leave you tonight. Thank you for watching this video until now. Subtitles by ST, and I'll see you in the next one.